So as you just heard me say, or heard the woman say, this meeting is being recorded. What's going to happen is after the Zoom class is over, I go ahead and upload it onto YouTube. So that way, if there's something that you missed, you'll be able to go back onto YouTube and kind of review some of the things that I said. I know that there's going to be some information that could go over your head maybe initially, but if you go back and read it again, I'm going to talk a lot about the immune system. As a matter of fact, I'm going to talk only about the immune system. And there's reasons for it. You know, sometimes you tend to gravitate toward maybe what's going on inside of your body. And so some of those things are going to be a part of the class. So anyway, here we go, the struggle for survival. And as we all understand, you know, we are in a constant, it's a daily bombardment with whether it be viruses, whether it be bacteria, whether it be yeast, whether it's fungus. There's all kinds of things that are in this world for various reasons. And usually is our bodies fight these things off and we don't even know it, right? We might feel a little some kind of a way, maybe we feel tired or, you know, whatever it might be. And we might not even know that our body is actually engaged in a war. But at any given time, at any given day, and there has to be no notice. It's not like we can see these particles as you see them on the screen. You can't see these things, right? Viruses, especially what you're seeing on the screen, these are virus particles. Viruses they're invisible to the naked eye. You cannot see them. And they're not even it's not even a living entity. Of course, we understand the smallest living substance is a cell. So even a bacterium is alive, whether it's a single cell or a multi-celled organism, but a virus does not meet those qualifications. So it is, it's a particle, and it needs our cell, it needs our body or an animal to survive. Even some plants, you know, and trees, they can be invaded by viruses. Some of the things that I learned, you know, was really interesting, that even a plant can actually have a fever. I was like, what on earth? In other words, even a plant that their internal temperature of that plant is, you know, can be elevated. So I thought that was really, really interesting. But a fever is a good thing. And that's one thing that we do have to understand as well, is that when our bodies get a fever, that's all part of the immune response, okay? As things heat up, the virus cannot survive in the same way as the optimal, you know, with anywhere between 97 and 99 degrees is the human body. And so, you know, as that temperature even goes up a couple degrees, it does cause viral death. And so that's a really, really important thing that happens when our temperature goes up. It is our body responding to something that it's being invaded by. So our immune system is just wonderful. All right. Now, I likened it to an army, because it's exactly what it is. And we've got a number of immune cells. We're going to talk very briefly about some of those cells. I just want to give everybody a good understanding. And then we're going to talk about some ways that we can also help our immune system, right? That's the most important thing. It's kind of like, you know, like, let's say you send the army off to war, you know, but you don't give them any food, right? They might be able to last for, you know, for some time, but they need some support out there, you know, in the war, right? So what we want to do is we want to feed our immune system. We want to nourish our immune system. We want to strengthen our immune system. And that's where our nutrition, the fresh air, the exercise, essential oils, the supplements, all of those things, it makes for a strong body, so that when our body is at war, it's got that nourishment that it needs to continue fighting that war. that often means the difference of, you know, of life or death. I mean, there are plenty of people that die every day from viruses, from flu, from a bacterial infection. There are people that die, and what happens is that's the immune system that it gave up. Whether the virus is too great, or the bacterial infection is too much, it's overwhelming. Those are the things that account for cell death, which in all actuality, that's the death of that organism, whether it's a person, whether it's an animal, whether it's a plant, a tree. So the immune system, in short, is the army of our body. All right, so we're going to explain that just a little bit. Like I say, I don't want to go too sciencey on people, but just want to give some good basic. So the immune system is like the military that protects our body, or our homeland, right? If you want to use the term of a you know, an army, and it protects it against invaders. It also prevents those invaders, such as viruses, such as bacteria, from coming in, taking over, and trying to take us down. Okay, so our immune system defends. All right, very, very important to just understand just that. And with any good defense system, it needs a lot of support. All right, these are the different body systems. Cindy, would you mind muting yourself? Thanks. These are the different body systems that are all part of that immune system. Okay, and so each and every one of these are just so very important. Hang on one second. Let me go ahead and mute everybody. Okay, there we go. All right, so these are all just the different parts of our immune system. We're going to talk about just a few of them. All righty, so once again, the body's military defense, much like the country's armed forces, they work in tandem, right? In other words, they work together to protect from foreign invaders. Each type of cell of the human immune system plays a specific role in defending the body against disease and infection. All right, now there's this really smart man named Troy Jorgensen. He separated the immune system into 4 compartments, and he likened it to the military, and he offered a framework. All right, and this is what I was going to talk about just very briefly, just these 4 compartments. All right, the first is the complement compartment of the immune system. And this particular doctor said that this includes what he called as landmines that explode into action when triggered. These landmines, they're actually proteins. Proteins are very, very important in our body. We're a large protein manufacturer, but these proteins are just floating around in the plasma, right? And they're waiting for something to come along, something that they don't recognize, something that's foreign, something that doesn't look right, such as a bacterium. And when they come upon these things, they activate, and it's called a cleavage event, and it prompts the production of a membrane attack complex, which is really, really interesting learning about this kind of stuff. But what that does is it just punches a hole in the bacterium, causing an explosion. Now, very, very important is that when you in some way damage a cell membrane, that cell is dead. It can no longer survive. That membrane is so important. So if these landmines get a hold of something that's foreign or an invader, and they just punch holes, that particle or bacterium in this case literally dies. Then there are the phagocytes. Okay, now phagocytes, he likened it to the Marines. So the U.S. Marines, they crawl through the mud, through the battlefield, right? And phagocytes, what they do, and without going sciencey here, phagocytes actually can go in through the lymphatic system. Lymphatic system and circulatory system literally run parallel together, okay? And they all have valves that open and close. Sometimes the valves are nice and open, sometimes they're closed tighter, okay? But the phagocytes, they would be in the lymph system. Hang on, somebody's trying to come in. They would be in the lymph system. They work out through the tissues and to the site of inflammation. Once they reach the invaders, they literally surround themselves and engulf it, kind of like a Pac-Man type thing, right? So, and that's called phagocytosis. Very, very important. But this is just another method, right? So what the first doesn't get, the second gets, and then we've got a couple more, all right? So then we've got the B cells. Now, a lot of people probably heard of the B cells, but the B cells are kind of like the Air Force, right? They make and deploy cruise missile-like attacks on body invaders. Okay, this is where your antibodies are coming in. And the B cells, they attack invaders that are found outside the cell, okay? Which is really, really important. You want to keep everything outside of the cell, okay? Especially when it comes to viruses, because viruses are trying very hard to get into the cell, okay? They can't do anything until they're inside of that cell. So if you can fight it off before it gets into the cell, then you are doing good. And then the T cells, they're like the generals or the assassins or the psychologists. They guide the B cell attacks. They kill infected cells and they regulate other immune cells. There is so many things in between all of what I just said, but I'm not going to go into all of that. But I just wanted everybody to understand that there are a variety of cells that we possess, God-given, that is part of our immune system. And I like this picture because what this is actually showing is an attack. Okay, now I don't know how, you know, the photography and how they can get this type of thing, but this is just showing how the cells, these different cells that I just talked about, are actually attacking a virus. All right, so this is a Shutterstock picture, and I just thought it was just really, really interesting, just showing all of the motion, all of the movement that happens as our body is fighting an invader. Okay, now this is a daily battle. This happens all the time. Most of the time we win, right? Most of the time we don't even realize that we've got any foreign invaders inside of us, right? But then there are other times where that's not necessarily the case. And sometimes we lose. And it doesn't mean that we lose the whole war. Maybe we just lost that battle, right? The fever goes up, the body aches happen, we're in bed, and we're what we call sick, right? I just spent the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 days, you know, fighting COVID. And you know, the first couple of days, it was like, oh my goodness, wow, this is, you know, the fever and the body aches. And, you know, you just literally like, you know, in bed or not far from the bed, you know, if you get up, you can't get up for very long. And, you know, and so, but after, you know, the couple of days, you know, my fever broke on Wednesday, you know, then of course, you know, the coughing starts and the, you know, all of that, you know, the chest tightness and all of that. And then, you know, every day, you know, just feeling better and better. But it's really interesting to me though, how even though I'm not getting any kind of, you know, like the antibiotics, right? Not getting anything like that. You know, your body is still going to handle this viral infection. And to me, that is just the most amazing thing ever, is that our bodies have got such a capability to heal themselves, right? It's like, you know, I have COVID, but do I really look sick? Does everybody, you know, is everybody looking and it's like, oh, she looks terrible, right? Well, now a couple of days ago, yeah, if I were to show my face, you'd be like, you probably need to go to bed, right? But I'm not, I mean, I'm thinking about going and taking a walk later on today, you know, trying to be careful, try not to, you know, to overdo it. But sometimes we lose the battle, but that doesn't mean that we lose the war, right? So what I want to talk about is I want to talk about some ways that we can actually strengthen that immune system, because that immune system is the gatekeeper. That is the thing. It's kind of like, you know, like I was saying, all the branches of the military, right? Keeping foreign invaders from coming into our country, right? and you know, doing bad things, right, in our country. And believe me, as you know, if they would, or I'm sorry, if they could, they would, right? Everybody remembers 9/11, right? We remember some of these, you know, some of these terrible times where, you know, the defense was down, you know, and things happen, right? It's the same thing with our body. When the defense is down, things happen. And so, you know, the same way that, you know, a virus would maybe come our way one day and we'd be able to fight it off with no problem. Maybe another day a virus would come by and we succumb to it. And it's all due to just the strength of that immune system, right? So that's why I wanted to talk about, you know, this thing that has been given to us by God called an immune system, and how we need to nourish, we need to strengthen, we need to feed this system and make it strong so that when foreign invaders do chance to come by, we're strong enough to fight them off, right? And we can fight them off quickly. We can fight them off easily, right? And that's what Doterra's On Guard is all about. It's exactly why it's called On Guard, right? I mean, that just the name alone tells us exactly what it's for, right? I love the blend. I love the smell of this blend. Or wild orange, clove, which by the way, clove has got more antioxidants than any other substance known to man. So antioxidants, as we understand that is actually protecting our cell integrity. Very, very important. Oxidation is that's what causes the aging process, both within and without, right? So antioxidants is just what we want to prolong the vitality of our cells. Very, very important. And clove has more antioxidants than any other substance that we know of at this time anyway. So like I say, wild orange, cloves, cinnamon bark, eucalyptus, and rosemary. And it can be used to protect against environmental threats, support a healthy immune function. And a recent study, and what I did was I went into the ebooks again. Actually, no, I think I went on the blog, the Doterra blog, and I found a lot of this information. But a recent study by Doterra scientists evaluated the effects of Doterra On Guard blend on human cells. They did 4 different white blood cell co-cultures and 1 skin cell co-culture. And as they were exposed to the blend, subsequent changes in cellular activity were measured using biomarker analysis. Now, really, what does all this mean? It suggests that the effect of Doterra On Guard are consistent with the known effects of the single oils included. Okay, so that's good. The experimental data also suggests that Doterra On Guard may regulate many important pathways relevant to healthy inflammatory response, wound healing, cellular health, and immune response. Okay, sorry about that. As I talk a lot, sometimes I have to cough. So in conclusion, in my opinion, is that when we become overrun at times to pathogens, a strong, healthy system is the key to putting up a good fight. Okay, so just very, very important that we understand that all of the studies that's been done, you know, through Doterra, you know, for this reason, right? Doterra doesn't just throw a bunch of things in a bottle and say, here, take this. There's scientific research that goes into everything that's in that bottle, right? Let's know what this is for, how it's to be used, how much we should even put, you know, as a mixture in this particular blend. So very, very important. And then there's the On Guard family. And this is an actual, it's beautiful. I mean, I own all of these things and I take all of these things, but the one thing that I stopped taking, and we're going to talk about this here in just a minute, was I stopped taking my On Guard soft gels internally. And And I know my daughter, that was one of the first things. She's like, Mom, you taking your On Guard soft gels? And I was like, no, I haven't been. And it's like, duh, it's, what, here we're in the middle of a pandemic, right? And you're not taking, something so important. I don't know why I stopped, but well, I guess I know why I stopped. The bottle was empty and I just forgot to reorder or whatever. I don't know. And so I stopped taking it. So I'm going to make sure that it's in my cart for my next order. But taking it internally to support respiratory function and the body's natural antioxidant defenses, it's got very powerful immune supporting properties, okay? It's well known for its ability to protect against environmental and seasonal threats, all right? Then you've got cleansing agents, which I just, did a lot of cleaning this morning with this On Guard cleaning concentrate. Can be used to clean, the hand wash is used to clean the skin. The cleansing concentrate, which you see on the very top of that pyramid there, can be used to clean your countertops, even your dishes. And then, of course, diffusing the On Guard can also be used to help cleanse and purify the air. And I think that's really, really interesting how that, the On Guard actually cleans and purifies our air that we breathe. That's really important. Why is that? Because viruses are very easy to survive for long periods of time in the air, okay? Not necessarily so with bacteria, but viruses, because of they're extremely small, they're extremely able to be aerosolized. That's why viruses, they run rampant through households, through communities, and that's why you can actually go and see what the flu is in your area, right? Why is that? That's because viruses are just so easily transported in the air, all right? And using On Guard, diffusing it, actually cleanse the air. I used to bring it to our worship building, and I used to diffuse it in the worship room and in the foyer, and all over the place. And so, yeah, it's, not to mention the fact that it just smells absolutely wonderful, right? So anyway, that's enough to be said about that. I wanted to talk about hand washing. Now, I know we probably have heard washing our hands more than we have ever in our entire life, right? Just in this past year, right? Wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands. Well, what's all the fuss about it? I mean, why is it that it's so important to wash our hands? We take it for granted what we understand and know today, right? But back in the day, this wasn't something that was just widely known to man, okay? There was a man, and his name was Ignaz Semelweiss, okay? Don't ask me to say his name again, okay? I said it once. His discovery, even though he was thrown into an insane asylum, but his discovery actually saved a lot of lives, possibly more than any other health discovery ever. So in the mid-19th century, approximately 10% of childbirths resulted in death due to fever. Now, he proposed that the cause of this fatal fever was simply a lack of cleanliness. What a novel idea, right? He required his interns at Vienna General Hospital's maternity clinic to wash their hands between procedures with a chlorinated lime solution. Almost immediately, the incidence of fever was reduced. So now he begins to try to convince all of his colleagues to follow his leads, or to follow his lead, I should say. They all thought he was crazy. They dismissed him from his job. Ultimately, through a course of events, they committed him to an insane asylum, where there's more to this story, but just understand, he passed away. He was actually brutally beaten and treated as he was there. And so he died in the insane asylum. And then decades later, a man by the name of Louis Pasteur, I think we all have heard that name before. And then there was also a man named Robert Koch. Their work as microbiologists resulted in the germ theory of disease. And then all of a sudden, hand washing became an accepted part of medical care. So now, I mean, I just think it's pretty interesting to think that, you know, the proper, you know, hand washing, you know, we're always taught, you know, wash your hands in between your fingers, your fingernails, you know, all of that, right? That it actually, it really does work. it really does work. And it could dramatically reduce the incidence of even respiratory infections, foodborne illness, and various other healthcare associated affections. That's why it's so important, you know, in hospitals and things, you see like a doctor enters a room, there's usually you know, there's a sterile field that's around each patient. And they, you know, they'll have to, you know, they disinfect, you know, use the sanitizer in between rooms, not going in one patient's room and then directly into another. They sanitize their hands before they walk in, then they wash their hands and you know, put the PPE on right after that. Really, really important, but really interesting stuff that now we take it for granted, right? But I just thought, you know, to include that in there because, you know, I thought just so important, you know, it's a simple thing, but when you think about your hands and how many times, I mean, just think of how many times in the course of just this little tiny Zoom class, how many times did you see me touch my face, right? Our face, in particular, our eyes, nose, and mouth are going to be the gateway into the rest of our body, right? We've got all of these barriers. Our skin is a barrier, right? It only allows certain things in. But if you have a cut, oftentimes infection can get in through a cut. So why are we so worried about what's on our hands? Well, it's just that reason, because your hands touch your eyes, touch your ears, touch your nose, touch your mouth, and look at all of this stuff all over this. I mean, when you, even after you've washed your hands, you still have stuff on your hands, okay? Much of that is because we don't wash our hands properly, right? I know I don't wash my hands as long as I'm supposed to. I think they say you're supposed to lather for like 20 minutes and then, or not 20 minutes, 20 seconds. And then I guess she was supposed to sing what, the happy birthday song, you know? Who does it? I know I don't, right? But you should. So anyway, but of course we know the importance of not touching our face. And the reason why is because that is where pathogens enter the body, okay? Our noses are just really, really, I mean, they get bombarded all the time, right? That's why we have so many mucus glands in our nose. We have mucus glands in the back of our throat. We have mucus glands in our throat, right? The mucus is very, very important because it traps whatever, you know, whatever's trying to enter into, you know, into our body and potentially into our respiratory system. That's why the lower respiratory infections are usually way worse, you know, much more, you know, brings out much higher morbidity or mortality. So anyway, you want to be as healthy as possible? These are, I should say, some products that you can use every single day, easy peasy, to get your immune system in tip-top shape. So that when you do touch your hand to your nose or to your mouth or to your eyes, and they've got some type of a virus or bacteria or something on them that's potentially harmful to your body is going to put up a very, very strong response to go ahead and eradicate, you know, those particular pathogens. So keeping our homes clean, keeping our hands clean, and keeping our immune system strong, not letting your guard down. All right, so diffusing Doterra on guard, putting the hand wash in the bathroom, making sure that it's always there. Sanitizing mist, I bring that to church with me. After I've greeted everybody, I sit down and put a couple of squirts on my hands, and then of course you can rub the on guard touch on your chest and on your feet. So very important on your feet as well. So bacteria, bacteria is not bad, okay? Too much of it is bad. We actually carry about 4.4 pounds of bacteria in and on our body. So next time I go to the doctor and I get weighed and she tells me what my weight is, I'm going to say, subtract 4 pounds of that for the bacteria. I wouldn't mind that one single bit because that's not mine. I don't claim it. But anyway, bacteria actually does play a big role in your body and on your skin. In fact, there's more bacteria cells in our body than actual human cells. Chew on that for a little bit. I thought this was kind of a funny little picture here is that, here's the bacteria reunion, species X, and they're all telling who they live in. So we've got our bacteria at the table. And then viruses. Viruses are just amazing, amazing structures. This is only one of many different, viral particles. There's a lot. I mean, this thing doesn't even look like. I mean, it looks like a lunar moon landing or something like that. I mean, it's just amazing. Just the complexity of even just this virus particle, which isn't even alive, but. Contrary to popular belief, some viruses are actually beneficial to our survival, all right? Because they actually, bacteria can actually get infected by viruses and bacteria can die. So viruses actually keep the bacteria population under control. Even though bacteria, most of them are good, there's a lot of them that are not good, and too much of them is not good too. So many of us, too many of us, I'm sorry, I don't even know why I wrote what I wrote on this. Anyway, too many of us oftentimes become infected. Oh, that's what it is. Too many of either, that's why I wrote this. Too many bacteria, too many virus, and yes, we will become infected. So infectious diseases, we have to live with them. And we do have to respect the careful balance. And that's one of the problems. We can make the cure worse than the problem. And I was going to also mention that, how often I was just talking to my sister about this yesterday. I was hoping she was going to come on. We were talking about, how that, there's so many antibiotics out there that, okay, sure, it kills that bacterial infection that you've got, but it also kills a lot of the good bacteria. And that's why we have GI issues after we've been on antibiotics for a long period of time. Why? Because it's also killing the good gut bacteria. Okay, so bacteria is very, very important. It aids us in digestion. Bacteria do so many things in our world, an incredible amount of processes that could not happen without bacteria. So it is a very careful balance. So is this the cure or is this another problem, right? What about this? Now this makes me happy just looking at it, right? These are things that you can actually use. Make yourself feel better, take away symptoms, strengthen your immune system, so that way when we inevitably are invaded, we can fight it off ourselves, okay? Too much antibiotics, what it does is it takes away your own strength of your immune system. And then you get things and those superbugs and things like that because our immune system is like, oh, okay, I could just relax because there's this antibiotic that's fighting it, right? No, the more we use it, the stronger it's going to be. That's what essential oils do, is they strengthen our immune system so that our immune systems can do the work that they're intended to do. All right, so here is On Guard. I just wanted to just kind of put a couple little ideas of how we can use it. It's good for sore throats. You could use a hand cleaner spray, cleaning doorknobs, purifying the air. It's just an all-around wonderful product. Here's a really good diffuser blend to purify the air. You've got lemon, you've got On Guard. You don't even have to put the lemon, but the lemon gives a very, very beautiful, beautiful smell. It's like a complement to it. This is an immune support balm, okay? And this is where the veggie caps really come in handy. So if you don't have veggie caps, what you want to do on your next order is just put them in your cart and, you know, go ahead and get them on your next order. I have to get some more myself. But anyway, this is an immune support balm. 1 drop of frankincense, 2 drops of lemon, 1 drop of oregano, and 2 drops of On Guard. Now, those veggie caps can hold more than that. So you can also put in thyme if you would like. There's other oils that you can, you know, go ahead and add in there for a variety of reasons, right? You could drop in a drop of thyme, a drop of copaiba, and you know, there's so many other oils, and that's one of the nice things about having these books is it actually gives you some instructions on, you know, how to use it and even how much to use. So anyway. And then this is what I was taking and what I stopped taking and what I will begin taking once again. Look at all of these awesome things that it has in it. Melissa, rosemary, oregano, eucalyptus. Now this is there's 2 different types of eucalyptus. There's one eucalyptus where you cannot take it internally. And then there's another where you can take it internally. It's 2 different types. All right. And if you were on my Zoom last week, we talked about this. Then there's cinnamon, black pepper, clove, and wild orange. So this is for people like me that are too lazy to use the veggie caps. I like taking one of these and just popping it in my mouth. All right, and these are some diffuser combinations. You've got day support, night support, air, respiratory as well. So there's all kinds of really cool diffuser blends here. Excuse me. Excuse me. Okay, all right, so this, I have been using this often the past couple of days. And I just started using it. It's just such a cool thing. I haven't been using the Midnight Forest. I've been using On Guard, and you know, I just take this. You can move this everywhere. You don't even have to have a plug. Once it charges up, you no longer need the plug. You can unplug it, move it wherever you want, right? If you're sitting in the closet. If you're in the car, it also has a little car charger as well. So it has the charger that you plug into your little cube and into the wall, or it has the car charger. Purify, this is another really, oh my goodness. This, if anybody has smelled Purify, you know exactly what I mean. It smells absolutely wonderful. But again, very good for cleaning and purifying the air, purifying surfaces. You can use it to purify your clothing. You can put it on your skin. It's actually good for skin issues. It's good to repel insects. It's good for bug bites, for stings. It's just an awesome oil. Not to mention that, boy, does this smell so good. And here are some diffuser blends to purify the air. I know I had a little bit of fun putting all of these little bottles of oil on here. I probably went a little overboard, but I had fun doing it. So anyway, if you want to take a snapshot of that, you know, just wonderful diffuser blends. I absolutely love experimenting with different diffuser blends. All right, now this right here is actually, you can, there's a 3-part, and I think I might have forgotten to put all 3 of the immunity kits. It's a 3-part series that when you sign up, they send you the first kit the first month, they send you a different kit the next month, and then a different kit the 3rd month. But you know, it's very interesting how that, you know, Doterra puts these things together. They don't, like I say, they don't just slap things together. They put things together with purpose. And then this is a Healthy Start Kit. Wanted to remind everybody that this, I believe today is the last day for that special of, you know, the 50, if you sign up with $150 kit or higher, or I'm sorry, 150 PV kit or higher. Anyway, I think it's just $150 or greater. Doterra will give you $50 to spend. It's 50 Doterra bucks. So you can go and spend that and get, you know, all kinds of cool stuff that you want. These are the products and what they're used for in that Healthy Start Kit. I absolutely love this kit. This is the kit that I started with, and I very quickly realized that I should have bought the bigger kit because I use these up so much. The bigger kit gives you 3 times as much oils for not very much more. So anyway, if you want any information on that, we could go ahead and talk about that. All right, what did I just do wrong here? I'm supposed to do the stop share. What did I just do? Sometimes I just have to laugh at myself. Anyway, okay. Does everybody see everybody now? No? What do you see? You still see my PowerPoint?
Yeah, just still see what's on the screen.
Yeah, well, what's on my screen is different than what's on your screen.
Oh, okay.
All right, let's see if I can.
But we can, we can see the people as well. And then we can also see yours. I can see your screen.
Okay. All right. Well, it's whatever. I'm just going to minimize that.
Barb, if you're done, you need to stop sharing.
That's what I did. That's what I'm trying to do, but I don't know.
Stop recording.
I know that, but I can't find, I just lost all of those controls. Oh, here they are. My goodness. Okay. Stop share.